Thank you. Goodbye.
Today's daf is Masechta Sota, Daf Mem Daled. We are at the top of Mem Daled Amud Aleph, where the Gemara says, by the two dots, approximately 12 lines from the top, it says Tana Rabbanon. So the Mishnah said, Mia ish asher eras isha v'loy lekacha, but he did not marry yet. So the Gemara is going to explain who's included in this. So the Gemara Tana Rabbanon. Rabbanon learned in a brayza, asher eras isha is included in this. Echad ha'ma'aris is a basula, and someone that does eras and a basula. Echad ha'ma'aris is almana, someone that does eras and almana. Ve'echad shemeres yavim, and a shemeres yavam. Someone's waiting for yavam. Afilu chamisha achin, even his 5 brothers, or meisachem chama, one of them dies without kids, and his wife falls to yibam. All the brothers return. Zakti Gemara loy lakach v'loy lakacha. It doesn't say asher eras isha v'loy lakach, it says v'loy lakacha. So it's mashma that dafka, that if he didn't take this woman, then he's chayzer if he didn't marry her. But if he didn't take another woman, he's not chayzer. Who's that going to be ma'it? So the Gemara pratla almana that's an arusa tal kayin gadol and a gush chalutza kayin heder, which is asr mamzeres is Yisrael by Yisrael mamzel nasin, that they do not return machmas and erisin. That's an isser. In fact, the Gemara lema seder yoseg lili brisa is not like yoseg lili. The ear of yoseg lili was yoseg lili. Then why does he not come back on his suay isser from Muhammad? Amari says that the pasuk in Dvarim Parachav pasuk ches hayari rachalei yelech v'yashiv is amisyarim averis shabiyadi. Someone is afraid, has fear from averis in his hands, and so it's ma'aras be'isser l'chari as averis shabiyadi. So you should have to return according to Yosei Aglili. And for the Gemara, afilu tema, you can even say the price is going to Yosei Aglili. And you have to mayit erison it's done be'isar k'derabba. Rabba says la'olam ein echayev achivo. La'olam a kohen that is mekadosh isha that is asur to him is not chayev malchus until he does bia. Matam lo yikach. Why did it say by grusha, b'almana and grusha, by yikach parachaval pasuk yadal lo yikach? Mishum, because of the pasuk that says afterwards, the pasuk tezvav, it says v'lo yichal zaray. That kedushin's only asur, the Torah is telling us. Dafka na oifen was mechal zaray, or the ishas mekudeshes from kahuna. Mishum hachi in a leikas. So that's why mishum hachi in a leikas achival. He's not like when he does eris on isha that's asur on him until he does bia, because only that's when you have the chil happening. So therefore, even according to Rabbi Yosei Aglili, he would not return. So Zakta Gemara, even according to Rabbi Yosei Aglili, there won't be an isser with such an erisin, because the whole isser is only with a bia, and we're talking about that as before bia, so that's when you have to have the miyat. Zakta Gemara Vaita. Tana Rabbanon. Rabbanon learned in Brayza. First it says that in Dvarim Parachav pasuk Hein Zayin, it says that the person should return asher bana, and then it says asher nata, and then it says asher eras. So Zot Gemara lim the Torah daracharetz, from this order, the way the Torah writes them, the Torah is trying to teach us shivna adam bias. A person should first build a house, v'yita kerem, and should plant a vineyard in order to mefarnas him. And then he should marry a woman. Shlomo also says in Mishlei Parachav Dal Pasuk Chav Zayin, Hachin b'chutz melachtecha ve'atata basadaloch achar uvanisa veisecha. Zok the Brayis, Hachin b'chutz melachtecha is a bias going on building a house. Ve'atata basadaloch is a kerem, is going on building a kerem. Ve'achar uvanisa veisecha zu isha. Zokti Marvayda Davar Achar, another Pshat, Hachim Bechutz Malachtecha, is a Mikra, it's going on learning Mikra, Torah Nevi'im Ksum, Va'ata Basadalach, is a Mishnah, is going on learning Halachas Pesukos, Achar, Uvaniso, Veisecha, is a Gemara, is going on Gemara to understand Svaras and Taimiyah Mishnah, and to mevar them like who's the halacha. Davar Achar, Hachim Bechutz Malachtecha, is a Mikra Mishnah, Va'ata Basadalach, is a Gemara, Va'ach, Vaniso Veisecha, is going on Maisim Taivim. Rabbi Lezer ben Yosef Yosef Glili, Ayram Yosef Lezer, the son of Yosef Glili, says, Hachem Achutz Malachtecha, as a Mikra Mishnah Gemara, Va'ata Basadalach Ilamasim Toyim, Va'achar V'nis Veisecha, the Droish Kabal Schar. It's going on to Darshan and Kabal Schar. Zakti Gemara, the Mishnah said, Ve'elu She'ein Chayzer, and Boina Be'Shar. And also a person that builds a house the same exact that it was built before also does not return. Tana hoisif boy, if he adds something on it, dimus, echad, even one row of stones, sign the height and sign the thickness of the binyan, it's considered a bayis chadash, chayzer, and he returns. The Mishnah also said, Rebelezer, Ema afa boy in a base levain and basharin lo yei chayzer, did not return because Zakti Gemara, Tana, so he builds a house that if it's going to fall down, it's not davar shel kayama, it's not chayzer. Tana, you have to build it pamayim b'shavua, twice every 7 years, because it's not miskayim. Zakti Gemara, the Mishnah said, ve'elu shein zazim kayim bana bayis chadash v'chanachoi. So Gemara is explaining this din. Tana Rabbana, it says in Devarim Paragraph Dal Pasuk Hey, ki yichach isha chadasha la yetza batzava ainli ela isha chadasha. It's only if he's not isha chadasha, which is besula, but how almana grusha minayin that he's not yetza latzava. Rishana Rishana Tamalemi isha makal makoim. Any type of woman that he marries. Im came out Tamalemi isha chadasha. So why does it say isha chadasha? Even when it's not chadasha, he's not chayzer. Zok the Gemara, to be made misha chadash Allah yotza machzor shasha in chadash Allah. So made someone that's new to him. However, machzor shasha, if he was once married to her and he's remarrying her, then he does not. Then it does not have the din that he does go out to Lachama. Tana Rabbana and learned the Brayso la yetza batzava yochal batzava ud la yetza yal yasuk mayim mazim v'sakan drachim. He could still feed people and fix the streets. Talmud leimer v'layaro l'chol davar. He doesn't go even for that. That he should not go. Talmud leimer alav. It's my dafka alav. Somebody that's nasha isha, and he at the mavir, then he can't be mavir tzarcham chamat mavir ala chayrim. Ma'achad the kosav layavar. Once it says that he can't be layavar even for other tzarcham liyetza batzav lamli. So why does it have to say yetza batzav? The it's kal v'chaymer. The gemara lavar olav v'shnei lavin. It's going to tell you he's yetza batzav, he gets 2 lavin. Zok to gemara vayter. So the Mishnah said. Mishnah goes weiter and discusses the way they go out to the Mechama. So it says in Devarim Parakhaf Pasuk Ches, Yasu HaShoitrim Ledaber La'am, and the Shoitrim speak to the Am. Ha'ishayar, they say. So it says Ha'ishayar Rachalev Yelech Yashu Lebeisai. So it's Machloikas and what that means. Rekiva Eimer Ha'yar Rachaleva is Kmashmai. It's talking about that he has a soft heart. He can't withstand the formation of a war. He can't stand in a straight line, nor that the enemy should not break through and see a stretched out sword. So Rabbi Yosef Galilei says, it means somebody rather has fear for scared of the averis that he has, that maybe is going to get paid back because of errors in his hands. And therefore, people think that he's going back because he built a new house or one of the hektar that he has not to go out to war, and then this way he won't be embarrassed. If Yosef says that it is talking about a chayte, however, only a chayte ba'almana l'koyin gadol, gush chulus l'koyin hadyon, ma'avzeres in the sea Yisrael. So that is included in Hayar Rachaleel, those types of averis. Someone who has a marriage be'eser. So it says, Vaita in Devarim Parakhov Pasuk Taz, V'hoyak ha'chalas ha'shoitim dabla when they finish, the shaitim, the officers finished speaking to the Ufaktu saret tzevois b'rei sha'am, v'ba'akevoi shel and at the back of the meaning Mamidin Zakifin, they would put strong people that were appointed to it, that if one of the people standing from the Muhammad would fall, then they would help him stand again. And they would help the fighters, the people fighting the wall, the soldiers, with their words. Mamidin Zakifin, Lefneim, in the beginning of the camp, Vacherim, and other words, Macharim, then behind them, the Chashilin, Shalbars al Bidin, they give them like arrows of metal in their hands, Chom Fakish Lachsar, Hershus Vayadai, the Kapeach Hashaika. If someone wanted to run away, then he had Rishus to cut off his legs. Like the person that might want to run away. Shetchilas Nisa Nefila. The beginning of a nefila is running away. Shenamar says Machem Yisrael and Plishtim Shmuel Alf Per Dal Pasuk Zayin Nas Yisrael Lefnei Plishtim Vegam Agef Gedolah Hisaba'am. And also it says Olahala and another Machama it says Huaymer and Shmuel Alf Per Lamed Alf Pasuk Alf Vayinusu Anshe Yisrael Menei Plishtim Vayiplu Chalalim. So you'd see Al Yedei the running away they came to a nefila Medavar Mamurim. So you see here all you did the Nisa Chalom, you had Chalom, the Gemara Medavar Mamurim, but Machamas Rishos, but Machamas Mitzvah, Kol Yotz, and everybody goes out, even a Chatzon Mechader V'Kalo Mechupasa. So there's no heter ever to stay home by Machamas Mitzvah. Amar Yehuda Medavar Mamurim, these halachas of Machamas Mitzvah, Machamas Choiva, everyone goes out, Kol Yotz, Afilu Chatzon Mechader V'Kalo Mechupasa. So Yehuda is saying a little different. That Dafka Mechamas Mitzvah, you have these halachas, but Mechamas Chayva, that's when everybody goes out to Mechama. Frekting Gemara weiter. Mai Eka bein Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yossi Aglili. What's the difference between Shitas Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yossi Aglili? According to both of them, it's talking about Yahayar V'Rach Alevav. It's talking about that they're afraid of the Averis that they have. Zakta Gemara, the difference is Ikabenayu, Avera Derabanan. The difference is someone that's over Avera Derabanan. According to Rabbi Yossi Aglili, he's Chayzer, and according to Rabbi Yossi, only on a Dairaisa is Chayzer. Like he says, a Kain Gadol that marries Almana, it's a Dairaisa. So Zakta Gemara, Kaman Ozla, who is it going like Hadatanya? This is what it says in the Braisa, Sach bein Tfilin, Latfila. Somebody speaks between putting on Tfilin Shiyad and Tfilin Sharosh. Averi biyada to avera of a chayzal merach hamachama, and he goes back from merach hamachama. So come on, the Gemara could say because that's only the very darabban. It's not a daraisa. So only according to basically be chayzer. Zakti Gemara man tan laud and tarabana. Who's the tana said? This said it says shama in the brayso shama call kronos. If he hears a sound of shofars that the enemies are blowing, or a tia and he got scared, or a kafas terisin, or the sound of the shields that the enemy were banging one another. Where Tian he got scared, or he hears tzchuach charavois, or he hears a noise of swords banging, umayim, shoyson al berkov, or he releases his waist because he's scared. Chayzer, come on. So who's the price of going? Like the Gemara, Lemar Rabbi Kiva says Rabbi Kiva is Yarei, that he can't stand Bekisha Machama, and not Rabbi Yossi Aglili, it says that it's Al Tzaveris, he's Yari Al Tzaveris. So the Gemara Baha, and this item where he's scared of the Machama, even Rabbi Yossi Aglili agrees that it's Chayzer, because it says in Varam Parachav Pasach V'lo Yimas Eslavav Echav Kol Vavoy, and somebody that is Yari is scared from the Machama, Avada he is susceptible to Behemoth Lavav. Zok the Gemara weiter. The Mishnah said, "V'haya kechalas hashoiter." So, fact the Gemara, "Hi mnish tchilas nisa nefila." This side is said because tchilas nisa is nefila. It's mashma that nefila is goyim for nisa. Mnish tchilas nefila nisa. It should have said that you should not run because goyim nefila. So, the Gemara, "Eimam mnish tchilas nefila nisa." Attack I have to read it. Zakimar Medavar Rum Muhammad's Rashos, Muhammad's Mitzvah. Yehuda said Medavar Rum Muhammad's Mitzvah, Muhammad's Chayv is two sheets in the Gemara we had before. So that explains the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yechanan. This is called Rashos, means derabana. So Zakimar Gemara we had before this shiloh between Tanakama Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanakama is saying what is the chayzer, when is not Yetzim Vesa, only about Chamas or Shos. Chamas mitzvah, everybody goes out, even the Chas Mechazer. And Yehuda took it a step further. He said, Medavar Amurim, Chamas mitzvah, you have the Shaykh Patur for a Chasim, let's say, but Chamas Chayva, that's when they say Akol Yetzim, even the Chas Mechazer, and Chala Mechu Pasa. So Zakti Gemara that Amar Rabbi Yechanan, this that it's called a Rishos. According to Shita Tanakama, that's considered Muhammad's Mitzvah of Yehuda, and what's called a mitzvah al yidei derabanan She's Tanakama, that is called the Chayva, according to Yehuda. Zok the Gemara, what's Machlekes? Amara Mechames Yeshua Lichboish. Mechames Yeshua to capture or to Yisrael Divrei Akol is a Chayva, and everybody goes out. Mechames Beis David is Lurvacha to expand Eretz Yisrael and to bring in more taxes. Divrei Akol, it's called a Rishos. So Ki Pligi, what's Machlekes? L'meutei Oivei Kechavim Deloyle Se'alai, that they shouldn't come. We're trying to admire that they should not come to war on the Yidden. So Mar Karli mitzvah. Yehuda calls that a mitzvah because he holds the mitzvah. Umar and Tanakama Kar Rishos, he calls it Rishos. B'yachas to a Mechames mitzvah that he holds that Mechames mitzvah in Chayzonlah. And Afkamina Machlekes is Lo Isik mitzvah Shapatam on mitzvah. According to Tanakama, someone's Isik this Mechama is not part of another mitzvah. Rabbi Yehuda calls on a Mechames mitzvah, so Mela would have a din of Isik mitzvah as pater min a mitzvah. He said he holds that this fighting that war is called a mitzvah. So basically, the Gemara is saying it's Machlekes Tanakama Rabbi Yehuda. What is a Mechames mitzvah and what is a Mechames rishos? Okay, Hadar Allah Mashuach Mechama. Now we have a new parak. Parak Egla Rufa. So Agav that we discussed before on Laman Beis and Manal, the din of Egla Rufa. So now this parak is going to discuss this mitzvah of Egla Rufa. So when you find a dead person, somebody was murdered, apparently, in Eretz Yisrael, and it was on a derech. The derech was on the street or whatever, and you don't know who killed the person. So you measure which city is close to it, and the Ziknei Yair, they take a Eglas Bakar into the Nachal Esan, like it says in Devarim, Parak Aleph, Pasuk Aleph through Tes. So this parak is split into three different inyanim. One of them is, what do you do when you find a chalal? You want to find a corpse. How do you measure? And in which cases do you bring an eglah? In which cases do you not? And the second discussion in the parak is if you know who the Retzeach is. And the third discussion is when is eglah rufa batal? And a few other halachas. So Dr. Mishnah, eglah rufa. The things that are said b'shas eglah rufa, like it says in Dvarim Parakuf Aleph Pasuk Zayin, it says where's this pasuk? It says va'anu. They say va'anu yadenu le'shavchos adam hazeh ve'inenu lo ra'u. They say that our hands are full of blood and our eyes didn't see it. So it said a b'lashon hakodesh. That's what we said. Shenemar ki motzei chalal ba'adama. Because it says if you find the chalal ba'adama. So the Gemara is going to explain how you learn out of this pasuk. There's Dr. Gemara Vayter. The Mishnah explains the order of the mitzvah. It says in Dvarim Parachav Pasuk Beis v'yatzu zekenecha v'shetecha, that you go out. So it's mashma shloisha mebezdin hagalosh shalayim. The three dayanim from the bezdin hagalosh shalayim, and there was Sanhedrin and Doila Yotzin. They would go out to the chalal, to the corpse, and they would measure the city to the cities around it to clarify which city is close to it. So Yehuda Omer Chamisha. The 5 Zakenim went out. Shenem Zakenecha, which is a Lashon Ram, it's Masha 2. Shnayim. Also it says V'Sheitecha is in Masha another 2. The Ein Bezdin Shakel. And you can't have an even number split up in Bezdin, because then you can't be Machriya Al Pirai. So therefore, Masivin Alein Oid Echad, you add another one, so come to us, you have 5 Dayanim. Zok the Mishnah Vayter. You have cases that there's no Din Egla Rufa. Zok the Mishnah. Nimsa Tamun Begal. If you find the chal that he was covered with a pile of stones, like Tali Be'ilon, it was hanging on a tree, like Tzaf up in the Mayim, it was flowing on top of water, Loi Hayu, they would not measure, and Urfin, and they would not be Urf Egla, Shenemar, because it says in the Pasuk Doram Chapal Pasuk Aleph, it says Kimatzeh Chal Ba'adama, Nidl Ba'asada, and we dash on Ba'adama that the chal, the corpse is dafka on the ground, Loi Tam Magal. and he wasn't covered with any stones or anything. Neifel loital ilan. If he fell and it was not tali b'ilan, basadev loitzaf al b'neimayim. If he was in the field and he wasn't floating on water, ninsa samach lasfar. If he found next to the boundary, next to a border of Goyim, or next to a city that's mostly Goyim, or next to closest to a city that's no Bezin, they would not do that. They're only mighty to a city that has a Bezdin. Says the Gemara. So the Mishnah said that we learn out that din engla rufa is said b'lashon hakodesh. Why? Because it says ki matzei chalab adam. How do you learn this din from here? That's lashon hakodesh from this pasuk. Amar Ravo says hachikamar. There's a Tana saying that engla rufa from the lashon hakodesh should nemar because it says va'anu va'amru. They should answer and they should say lahalon omer. It says by the parasha of the brachos and clause devarim perikol zayin pasuk yidal says va'anu alavim va'amru. And we learn in Gzer Shava ma ni amur lahalon v'brachos clause lashon hakodesh afkan by engla rufa you learn as lashon hakodesh. And Zakta Tana Veseder Egla Rufa Ketzad. What's the order? Kimatze Chalab Adam Yatsu Kenech of Shtecha Shloshim Bezan Agalo Shalaima Yotzin. 3 went out. Zakta Mishnah. The Mishnah said Yehuda and Mechamisha. Yehuda said it was 5. So Zakta Gemara Tana Rabbanan learned in a Braysa. Rabbanan learned. It says Yatsu Kenech of Shtecha. So we dash and Kenecha is Shnaim. Shtecha is Shnaim is another 2. V'she'im bezman shakal, and bezman shouldn't be, it has to be able to be arrived. So therefore, my sivin le'inay dechad. Harigan chamisha. Divrei Yehuda. Reb Shimon is kenecha shnayim, ve'im bezman shakal, so you an echad. And Reb Shimon says you only have 3. So it's machlekes or Yehuda or Reb Shimon. Yehuda says 5. Reb Shimon says 3. So frankly, more Reb Shimon nami aksif sheitecha. L'chor says for sheitecha she has to be 2 and 2. Which should start off with that. Like Yehuda says. So tomorrow, who Yehuda needs to be chad and sheitecha. You need to have zekanim from the miyuchid of the shayftim. You have to have Sanhedrin Gedolah. So for Gemara of Yehuda, how does Yehuda know this? So the Gemara mezikne. He learns it from the extra word. It doesn't say zikne, rather it says zikenecha. It's mashma. It has to be miyuchad and shkenecha. It has to be the Sanhedrin Gedolah. Nafka. So for Gemara of Shimon, why does he learn it from zikenecha? Why does he learn it from shabtecha? So the Gemara, yikas rachmana zikne hava mina afilu zikne ashok. If I only say zikne, I don't think even the yadim from the shuk, even not from Sanhedrin. So there's what says Kosar Rachman is a kenecha, which is a mashma Sanhedrin. It's telling you that it just has to be Sanhedrin, so you wouldn't know Sanhedrin Gedolah. Because if Rachman is a kenecha, Mamina feels Sanhedrin Katana. I think Katana because Rachman is Shevtecha. So that's why Rabbi Shimon holds you have to have Shevtecha to tell you it has to be Yuchad and Shevtecha from Sanhedrin Gedolah. So for the Gemara of Yehuda, where does he come to my Ziknei Ashok? Because the Gemara Gomar learns out Gzer Shava Ziknei Ziknei from Ziknei Eda. It says by Par Halam Davar. Mala Halon over there, Ziknei Eda means Yuchad Shebe by Par Halam Davar. Afkam Yuchad Shebe Eda. So therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, tomorrow the Shiftecha is going to be extra and tell you that there's additional 2 dayanim, and that's why it learns out 5 dayanim. In fact, the Gemara, the Rabbi Yehuda needs 5 dayanim. Par Halam Davar. Yigamar Ligmar L'Kulim Mosa. So why don't you just learn out the whole Zirashav for the whole thing, all the dinim from Parham, Davar, Mahasam, that over here also you have to have 5 dayanim, just like by Parham, Davar, and Ibazayr, you like to be Huda, Zekenecha, Shavtecha, Lamali. Why do you have to have the lima of Zekenecha and Shavtecha at all by Egla Rufa? So talk to Gemara is Chayzer. Ella, Avad, I'll tell you, Huda, Taka learns from Shavtecha, and you need to have Sanhedrin Gedolah, and not from Gezer Shavah. And he holds that the vav that's extra of the sheitecha is telling you an amount, l'minyana, and it's coming to tell you tak another 2. So affecting Gemara of Reb Shimon, why is it Bishul learn like this? So Zakti Gemara, that's what he learns out. Learns that from the word sheitecha, you need to have Sanhedrin Gedolah, and not from Zereshah. And then the vav is also telling you it's another 2. So affecting Gemara of Reb Shimon, why is Reb Shimon learn like this? Zakti Gemara, Reb Shimon vav lo yimashmalei. He doesn't hold his mashma to be married by anything. So, fracting Gemara on Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Shimon on the Ata Zekenecha. This says Zekenecha Shevtecha. So you learn out the amounts of the Yanam Lachir. It says the Yatsu Zekenecha of the Shevtecha Umadadu. So the Yatsu is mashma 2. Umadadu is mashma another 2. So Zakti Gemara, therefore. Yehuda needs, that says you need 5, you should have another 2 and another 2 from the words v'yatzu and umadu. Rabbi Shimon that said you needed 3, you should have another 4, it should be 3 plus 4, it should be 7. Says Dr. Mar, no, hu v'yatzu and umadu, those words, and v'aylik the Tanya needed for this, that says in the Brisa, v'yatzu is being mamayit, hein v'lo shluchim, definitely the Dayanim have to go themselves and not their shluchim. Umadu is telling you shafilu nimtza ba'alil la'ir, even if you find the chalal in the alil la'ir, that means that you clearly found the mace clearly close to whatever city it was in. It was clearly at a city, and you don't have to measure anything. So what do you have to measure? So it's telling you, you find it clearly, it's coming from a city, still how you might, they still had to measure. They had to take measurements. Shemitzvah lasik mendida is a mitzvah. The Torah is a mitzvah in the Torah to be oisik in measurements, in measuring. And it's not extra to be marber to tell you another 2 dayanim, therefore.